still lay on the grass and all, but by the end of the day, it was all gone again.
Well, here in Abilene, we have had officially 31.5 inches of snow this winter so far.
Yeah, I heard somebody muttering around about another snowfall around Easter, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Because we're going to be in the 50s for the next couple of days, which is quite fine by me.
No, I heard that, and I'm ready for spring. I've been so ready for spring since that 117-inch snowfall we had here about a month ago. But we basically have had about twice the normal amount of snow we normally have here, which is a good sign.
Yeah, it's good for the farmers, I guess. The ground's got to be pretty saturated. Of course, we didn't get much snow at all this year. I mean, we got maybe a half a dozen snowfalls that were of the 2-inch or less variety.
Now, see, that's what we usually get. We get one good, 8 or 9-inch snowfall, and then we get several smaller ones of 2 to 4 inches. And that's usually about it on a normal winter, but we've had 31.5 inches out of 4 storms. That's pretty good average snowfall per storm. That's about 9 inches per storm, although one of those dumped 17 at one time.
All I can say is better you than me.
Yeah, that's right. I only used the snowblower because I wanted to.
Nah, my back hurts.
Used it because I wanted to, not because I had to. Try to get the thing running a little bit. This is Classic Radio Roundup 27115 on your AM radio dial.
That's right.
And it's quiet out there tonight.
Here's this week.
That's 44's line.
What about this week?
Yeah, who's our sponsor this week?
Fred's Discount Voodoo Emporium.
Yeah, they're the only one that pays the advertising.
Sole importer of Grandma Jemima's ganja dipped stainless steel voodoo doll needles.
And that's right. Tonight's been brought to you by Fred's Discount Voodoo Emporium. If you want someone dead, come and see Fred.
That whole voodoo doll thing was funny.
Oh yeah, that's a riot.
Can't write this stuff.
Nah, you can't make this stuff up.
How's this Cobra 86?
Sounds like a Cobra 86 with a stock mic.
Yeah, it's a D104 lollipop. No good?
That's alright. Just stocky sounding.
Alright. Yeah, it's a barefoot. I don't know, I guess 2 watts.
Well, I hear you. On my big old glowing glass tram.
Head for it.
I hear you, operator Rod. What's that? Is he on a CAM 88?
No, an 86. That's a solid state.
Cobra 86?
That's right.
86. What's that? One of the little AM 40 channel bases?
Yeah, with the sort of slanty face.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because I know the 85. I guess the 86 is like the next one, the 40 channel version. The 85, I think, is a 23.
86 is that Cybernet chassis radio, Sandbagger. Got that Cobra 135 style meter in it where when you key it up it stays in the middle and wiggles in the red zone.
Yeah, the 85 does that. 85, well, the 85 was made by Toshiba, same as the 135. The 86, I guess, what's that, a 40 channel version of it?
think so.
That's what I'm picturing anyway. Straighten us out, Ron.
Yeah, it's slanted piece, silver, speaker in front, 1 meter, 4 knobs, NL, 40 channel.
Yeah, it must be the 40 channel of the 85. I know it's a solid state. The only two tubers from Cobra are the 88 and the 98. The rest are solid state.
And the urinate just to piss around in.
Just missing the heater, Ron.
88, 98, urinate.
Coax together here. I'll be able to turn it on soon. Hold on.
That's right, he's on it. I have a little SBE sales tag on my console too. Finest communications equipment, SBE, quality, performance, value, advanced, solid state. And it has a whole list of doodads it's got.
Ooh.
That's 3 of these things out there tonight, then. Is that what you're talking on, Sparky?
No, I'm on the Pinto SSB. But it just, you guys sound so good, I'm tempted to switch.
No, Roger. Well, mine only sounds good by the hair of its transistor. She's sporting a brand new 1969 final tonight.
Does it make a difference?
Well, it sure made a difference over the one that I took out.
Is that radio putting out a half a watt?
Well, she went from 2 watts to 1 watt the other morning, and then yesterday she dropped to a half a watt, and no manner of adjustment would bring her back up. So I think it was time for a new one. She's back up to snuff today.
You got a bad final?
Yeah, I thought maybe the bias was bad, or maybe the voltage to the driver was bad, but she was putting along at about 2 watts there for the longest time, working just fine. And then the other day I turned it on and it barely do a watt and go backwards. So I opened it up and readjusted everything, and the voltage to the final was good. Voltage to the driver was good. Popped the lid off and did some adjustments. Tried to make it go forward. There was no way I could get it to go forward, no way, shape, or form. And then today I turned it on, it was doing a half a watt. So we broke out the toolkit.
Yeah, usually when finals go, they go, but I had, and Pete will remember this, that Midland 13898 power went way off on it. Turned out to be a shorted cap. One of the little disc capacitors in the output tuning stage shorted out. And it was making the power go down to darn near nothing. Replaced the final and all that, and it didn't change anything. And it was a bugger to actually track down. And I only found it because the thing was getting hot. You know, I'm poking around and I said, "What the heck is that? That's hot!" And the freaking cap was shorted.
Well, the only cap problems I ever had with the console 2 was the power supply cap went bad on one that I had a while back. This radio, though, like I say, I had this thing for several years before I went to Pennsylvania, and then Paul used it for a while, and then Pete got it. And, you know, it's an old radio, so things are bound to happen. It's doing fine tonight. Everything's nice and cool. I'm sitting here with the lid off, keeping tabs on stuff. She's going good and forward. She's got a lot of good forward now. Of course, the adjustments and the tuning I did on it might have something to do with that. So I couldn't get any forward out of it at all yesterday. It didn't. It wanted to swing down no matter what I did.
So what did you do? You replaced the final, or you just aligned it?
I replaced the final and adjusted the voltages a little bit to where the service manual said off frequency. I've got my clarifier swung clear to the left to stay on 1150. Right now I do not have the VFO hooked up to it, so we're on the crystals.
That's got variable caps in there.
Yeah, you can probably trim your crystals. I know mine was dead nuts on practically, and I just cracked them ever so slightly, and every single channel is right on the money now. Real nice and easy to tune these things.
Well, that's what I'm going to do, but the whole radio is off. It's off half a turn to the left. If I go center slide, it puts me way high on the frequency, all the way across. So I'm just going to turn it up on end here tomorrow probably and break out the counter and get busy.
Yeah, because the clarifier range on these console 2s isn't all that great. I think it's like less than plus or minus a kilohertz. Might only be 800 hertz. It's not a whole lot.
Yeah, it's not near as, it doesn't move near as much as my A85 Midland. Nonetheless, it needs it. I need to tune it. I don't know how it got off, but you never know. Something else could have failed. I may be waiting, I may just be biding time until something else that's in there is going to fail. I don't have any hot caps or anything. The radio overall is staying cool and no weird smells, so far so good.
Roger, roger. Well, that's good. Got to keep them old dogs running.
Yeah, show you right.
That's right, that's why those engineers at Linear Systems Incorporated, 220 Airport Boulevard, Watsonville, California, put those variable caps in there. You can tune that baby right in. Now, I don't know if it's got 4 that blend, and maybe that's where you're seeing it off, or there's one master, but there was a bunch of them in there, and I was able to get it right on.
Yeah, and I got summertime coming up and projects stacking up. Demco transmitter needs work. I got a CPI preamp that I need to put a switching transistor in there. That should be no big deal. And then I got to figure out what's wrong with my Formula 23 Regency, why I can't get the receive sensitivity that I want. But if I get the preamp fixed, that'll get me around until I can actually fix the radio. It's otherwise usable.
And then there's the Barker and Williamson.
Oh yeah, well that's a $200 throw money at it. That just means more OT.
Well, the way this thing's off, it makes me think the whole thing is off. I need to go back through the service manual and go through the procedures for realigning the entire radio and see if that cures it instead of going through and tweaking each crystal. There's not a whole lot of sense in tweaking each crystal if the whole thing's off.
Well, I don't think there is one master oscillator. You've got a bank of 6 crystals and another bank of 4, and they all have trimmers on them. And I don't think there's any real way of aligning it, from a master perspective. All those other coils just peak power. They don't really peak, they don't peak frequency. So, probably if you go through all your channels, some will be off more than others.
Yeah, Roger. Well, I could just leave it alone and run it, because I run the VFO on channel 23. I could just leave it alone and run off the VFO, but this radio has the luxury, you could turn the VFO off and switch down to your lower channels without having to worry about the VFO being on for the radio to work. And with the VFO off, your clarifier works like normal. But I just found it weird that the whole doggone bank of crystals is off, way off frequency to the upper side. It's just weird, because 6 months ago it wasn't like that.
Well, maybe it had something to do with the way the VFO was installed, and when it's on, it drags the frequency down or something. I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't know. I never did it before. I'm wondering maybe, though, it could possibility be that the ground on the VFO came loose inside. And I haven't got that far yet. If that ground is kind of iffy on the, the little cable, I've run the VFO to the RCA plug on the back of the radio that used to be the external speaker. And it runs, I have a short piece of coax that runs from that jack to the crystal socket. I'm wondering maybe if my ground on the crystal socket didn't come loose.
That's very possible.
It's not like the clarifier knob would have its own adjustment pot or something, or cap.
No, not on this radio. The Cobra 135, yeah. Clarifier circuit's got its own crystal.
I think the Cobra Cam 88 and the 98 are set up that way. They have their own crystal in the fine tune.
Yeah, but that's only for receive.
Well, again though, Sparky, the clarifier is disconnected when you turn the VFO on.
Yeah, I guess they just bypassed that whole crystal thing.
Well, I could just solve the whole thing, and just run it with the VFO, but I'm just one of those guys got to have it working right. At any rate, it was an experiment, it worked, and I got a few more planned. We'll see what happens here by the end of the week.
There you go.
Nitro 100, you still there?
Yes, sir.
While I'm thinking about it and before I forget, should I be looking for you on 40 meters this weekend?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'd like to try it probably either Friday morning and Saturday morning. I was figuring on heading over to 7255 and throwing the call sign out there and maybe hanging in there for you.
Yeah. Alrighty, well we'll look for you then Friday morning. Let's see, I'll be able to look for you, but early. I have to get out of here by 9 o'clock, so before 9 o'clock on Friday and then Saturday, I should be able to get in there for a little while in the morning.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'll check in over there and we'll leave a little traffic, and if you think of it, just shout out and maybe we can hook up.
Yeah, okay, we'll look for you on Friday, Saturday morning there. Check in, and I'll check in and see if we can get hooked up. Sounds good.
All right.
Check.
It'll be the great experiment. It'll be the first field trip with that Yaesu, and we'll try out that big stick, see what we can do on 40.
40's such a cool band. I've done it on more than one occasion with people where they're heading out of here and they're mobile, and we'd be talking on 10 meters. And just about when you lose each other on 10 meters, you can hardly hear each other. You go over to 40 meters and you pick it up and start all over again.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It was kind of alive today, too. I had a few minutes to listen around the band there, and there was quite a bit of action today.
Yeah, pretty much the further away you are, the better you'll work on 40 meters. You got to be 80 to 100 miles away at least.
Yeah, it seems that way. That was pretty wild. Yeah, I had no problem with much further stations. It was the closer stations that seemed to be giving everybody a problem, even some of the net controllers.
And that will vary from day to day, too.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
But it's pretty reliable for the most part. You know, somebody's 100 miles to about 1,200 miles out, you should be able to work them with ease.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm excited to get out there and try it, especially portable, you know.
It amazes me. It amazes me what you can do at a mobile station on 40 meters, because I had just a ham stick, you know, basically a loaded antenna and 100 watts on a motorcycle. I made myself lots of ground plane, coiled up coax under the seat. But it worked.
That's right, man. Any way you can do it. Any way you can do it. You know, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I got that big stick. I think it's about 17-foot telescopic whip, and I think I got like a dozen ground radials that I'll spread out, and we'll see what happens.
I think you'll do pretty well. It's an amazing band in the daytime. It's pretty amazing at nighttime too, but for regional coverage in the daytime, it's pretty reliable.
Yeah, it seems so. It really does. And I'll tell you what, that band gets crowded during the day with nets.
Yep, it absolutely does do that. But there's places, there's windows, there's places.
Yeah, there's certainly a few places you can hide, but I'll tell you what, between basically 175 to 300, it's jam-packed.
Yeah, sir. Another incentive to upgrade.
I know. I was just thinking about that today. I'm like, gosh, there's nowhere to hide. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm so used to being able to go below 175. I got some breathing room, but yeah, there's plenty of places to make contacts above, and in the morning time is when that band is really in good shape.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm anxious to try it out. So I'm looking forward to it, man. But we'll try it. We'll try it Friday morning. I'll try it Saturday morning. We'll see what happens. I'll have another ham with me as well, my brother's father-in-law, and he's been a bit of an Elmer to me as well. So I'm sure he'll join in on the fun as well.
Alright, well, sounds like a plan. We'll see what we can do to make it work. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll give it a try then.